So in this video, I'm giving you 100, yes, 100 truths that I wish were taught in Christian premarital counseling. If you're dating or engaged and serious about marriage, there are things you need to understand now that most couples don't realize until it's too late, way after they get married and after the big wedding. Stay tuned. Number one, you don't marry a person, you marry their patterns. Yes, people have feelings, people have thoughts, people have expectations. All that creates habits and patterns. That's really what you're marrying. Number two, what you avoid before marriage becomes conflict after it. What you avoid talking about before marriage becomes conflict, reoccurring conflict in your marriage. Number three, pride makes growth difficult and correction feels like an attack. Pride makes growth difficult and correction feels like an attack. Number four, insecurity turns love into pressure. Insecurity that's undealt with turns love in your marriage into pressure. Number five, defensiveness blocks understanding before it even begins. Defensiveness blocks understanding before it even begins. In other words, what you refuse to examine now, you'll be forced to manage later. Number six, you can't fix what you won't face. You can't fix what you won't face. Number seven, selfishness sounds like, look at me, me, in every conversation. Selfishness sounds like me in every conversation. Number eight, emotional maturity matters more than chemistry. Emotional maturity matters more than chemistry. Number nine, character issues don't disappear with commitment, they get exposed. Character issues do not disappear with commitment, they're brought to the light, they get exposed. Number 10, you attract what you tolerate, not what you desire. You attract what you tolerate, not what you desire. In other words, your standards don't shape your relationship, your tolerances do. Number 11, denial keeps you stuck in cycles you swear you hate. Denial keeps you stuck in cycles you swear you hate. Number 12, growth requires humility, not just intention. Growth requires humility, not just intention. Number 13, you can be right and still damage the relationship. You can be right and still damage the relationship. Number 14, the way you handle feedback reveals your character. The way you handle feedback reveals your character. Number 15, if you can't apologize, you can't repair. If you can't apologize, you can't repair. In other words, repair requires humility, not just explanation. Number 16, your habits will speak louder than your promises. Your habits will speak louder than your promises. Number 17, you don't rise to your intentions, you fall to your patterns. You don't rise to your intentions, you fall to your patterns. Number 18, avoidance feels like peace, but it creates distance. Avoidance feels like peace, but it creates distance. Number 19, what you hide now will surface later. What you hide now will surface later. Number 20. Character is revealed most when you're uncomfortable. Character is revealed most when you're uncomfortable. Now, let me pause here. If a few of those felt personal, that's not random. That's revealing where your relationship will be tested if you don't address it. I want you to comment the number that stood out to you in the comment section. I'll break down the top ones in the upcoming videos. 21. Most arguments aren't about the issue. They're about how it's said. Most arguments aren't about the issue. They're about how it's said. Number 22. Listening is harder than talking, but more powerful. Listening is harder than talking, but more powerful. 23. Being understood starts with understanding. In other words, being understood by your partner starts with trying to understand your partner. 24. Silence can be a weapon, not just a pause. Silence can be a weapon, not just a pause. Number 25. Interrupting says, my voice, my feelings, my ideas matters more than yours. Interrupting says, my voice, my feelings, my ideas matters more than yours. In other words, if you don't feel heard, you'll eventually stop sharing. Number 26. You don't hear clearly when you're preparing a defense. You don't hear clearly when you're preparing a defense, a comeback, a rebuttal. Number 27. Tone often determines the outcome more than the content. Tone often determines the outcome more than the content. Number 28. Clarity requires courage, not comfort. Number 29. Unspoken expectations create spoken frustration. Unspoken expectations create spoken frustration. Number 30. Avoidance delays conflict. It doesn't remove it. It definitely doesn't solve it. Avoidance delays conflict. It doesn't remove it, and it definitely doesn't solve it. In other words, what you delay emotionally, you pay for relationally. Number 31. Honesty builds trust. Partial truth sabotages it. Honesty builds trust. Partial truth sabotages it. Number 32. You can't build intimacy without vulnerability. You can't build intimacy without vulnerability. Number 33. Defensiveness blocks curiosity. Defensiveness blocks curiosity. Number 34. You don't need better words, you need better posture. You don't need better words, you need better posture. Number 35. Explaining yourself isn't the same as understanding them. Explaining yourself isn't the same as understanding them. In other words, understanding creates connection. Explaining creates distance. Number 36. Repeating the same argument reveals a deeper issue. Repeating the same argument reveals a deeper issue. Number 37. Emotional safety determines how open someone will be. Emotional safety determines how open someone will be. Number 38. Communication is less about talking and more about receiving. Communication is less about talking and more about receiving. Number 39. You can't resolve what you won't name. You cannot resolve what you won't name. Number 40. Healthy communication requires restraint, not just expression. I gotta be real. Yeah, I get it, but healthy communication often requires restraint, not just expression. Number 41, marriage does not complete you, it exposes you. Marriage does not complete you, it exposes you. Number 42, your spouse isn't responsible for your happiness. Somebody tell Will Smith that, Lord. Your spouse isn't responsible for your happiness. Number 43, love doesn't remove responsibility. Love does not remove responsibility. Number 44, attraction changes, character remains. Attraction goes up and down. It's there or it's gone. Character remains. Number 45, you don't marry potential, you marry patterns. In other words, hope is not a strategy. Patterns are predictable. Number 46, what you assume now will frustrate you later. What you assume now and don't know for sure will frustrate you later. Number 47, your upbringing shapes your expectations more than you realize. Your upbringing shapes your expectations more than you realize. Number 48, differences aren't the problem. Unmanaged differences are. Differences aren't the problem. Unmanaged differences are. Number 49, you will disappoint each other. It's inevitable. You will disappoint each other. It's inevitable. Number 50, expectations silently shape frustration. Expectations silently shape frustration. In other words, unspoken expectations are premeditated arguments and disappointments. Number 51, marriage requires adjustment, not perfection, progression. Marriage requires adjustment, not perfection, progression. Number 52, agreement isn't required for unity, respect is. Agreement isn't required for unity, respect is. Number 53, you don't need to be the same. You need to be aligned. UNITY spells you. Okay. You don't need to be the same. You need to be aligned. Number 54, love grows through intentionality, not assumption. Love grows through intentionality, not assumption. Number 55, compatibility doesn't eliminate conflict. Compatibility does not eliminate conflict. In other words, compatibility may start a relationship. Character sustains it. Number 56, you bring your past into your present relationship. But what happened? What's in the past stays in the past. The brain don't work like that. Sorry. Science is against you. Research is against you. You bring your past into your present relationship. Number 57, your expectations reveal your internal beliefs. Your expectations reveal your internal beliefs. Number 58, reality always exposes unrealistic expectations. Reality always exposes unrealistic expectations. Number 59, you can't demand what you don't model. Say it one more time for the people in the back, Felice. You can't demand what you don't model. Number 60, maturity adjusts expectations without losing standards. Maturity adjusts expectations without losing standards. Comment the number that stood out for you in this section, and I'll break down the top ones in the upcoming video. Number 61, conflict reveals what matters to you. Conflict reveals what matters to you. Number 62, winning arguments can lose relationships. Winning arguments can lose relationships. Number 63. Escalation is usually emotional, not logical. Say that again to the man. Escalation is usually emotional, not logical. Man. Number 64. Unresolved conflict compounds over time. Unresolved conflict compounds over time. Number 65. Anger often hides hurt. Anger often hides hurt. And in other words, if you only address anger, you miss the wound. Number 66. Avoiding conflict creates emotional distance. Avoiding conflict creates emotional distance. Number 67. Accountability is required for resolution. Accountability from both partners is required for resolution. Number 68. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. Number 69. Repeated conflict points to deeper patterns. Repeated conflict points to deeper patterns. Number 70. Conflict handled well builds trust. Conflict handled well builds trust. In other words, conflict is not the enemy. Unhealthy conflict is. Number 71. Timing matters as much as tone. Timing matters just as much as tone. Number 72. Reacting quickly often leads to regret. Reacting quickly often leads to regret. Number 73. You don't need to respond to everything immediately. You don't need to respond to everything immediately. Number 74. Self-control protects relationships. Self-control protects relationships. Number 75. Escalation thrives on defensiveness. Escalation thrives on defensiveness. In other words, calmness is not weakness, it's control. Number 76. You can't force resolution, you build toward it. You can't force resolution, you build toward it. Number 77. Respect must remain even in disagreement. Respect must remain even in disagreement. Number 78. Blame blocks progress. Blame blocks progress. Number 79. Taking responsibility accelerates healing. Taking responsibility accelerates healing. Number 80. Conflict reveals your emotional maturity. Conflict reveals your emotional maturity. Here's a words of wisdom break. If your goal is to avoid conflict, you're actually avoiding growth, because conflict is where clarity is built. Which number do you think in this section most people are guilty of? Let me know in the comments. Number 81. Marriage is a covenant, not a contract. Marriage is a covenant, not a contract. Number 82. Commitment matters more than feelings. Commitment matters more than feelings. Number 83. Love is demonstrated, not assumed. Love is demonstrated, not assumed. Number 84. Forgiveness is not optional, it's required. Forgiveness is not optional, it's required. Number 85. Grace is needed daily. Second or millisecond by millisecond. Second by second, minute by minute, week by week, month by month. Did I say day by day? Daily. Yes, Lord bless his heart. Have Lord in Lordiness, Jesus. Oh Lord. Grace is needed daily. That's the first one that I said 3 times, I think. Stay in character, please. In other words, you will need grace more often than you think. Number 86. Patience sustains what passion starts. Patience sustains what passion starts. Number 87. Spiritual alignment strengthens unity. Spiritual alignment strengthens unity. Number 88. You can't fake spiritual maturity. Good luck. You can't fake spiritual maturity. Number 89. Growth requires surrender, not control. Growth requires surrender, not control. Number 90. Marriage is designed to refine you, not just fulfill you. Marriage is designed to refine you, not just fulfill you. In other words, marriage reveals you, who you are, good and bad, so God can reshape you. Number 91. Faith impacts how you handle conflict. Your faith impacts how you handle conflict. Number 92. You don't outgrow the need for prayer. You don't outgrow the need for prayer. Number 93. Humility is essential for spiritual growth. Humility is essential for spiritual growth. Number 94. You can't lead spiritually without consistency. You can't lead spiritually without consistency. Number 95. God's design for marriage requires intentional obedience. God's design for marriage requires intentional obedience. In other words, knowing truth isn't enough. Living it is what transforms you. Number 96. Love is a decision before it's a feeling. Love is a decision before it's a feeling. Number 97. Serving your spouse builds connection. Serving your spouse builds connection. Number 98. Sacrifice strengthens commitment. Sacrifice strengthens commitment. Number 99. You don't drift into a healthy marriage, you build it. You don't drift into a healthy marriage, you build it. Number 100. What you practice before marriage, good or bad, you will repeat inside of marriage. What you practice before marriage, good or bad, you will repeat. Now, if you watch 1 through 100, or you often come back and watch these and you reflect and you try to apply the points and the messages and the wisdom for it, thank you for your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, right? But I want you to understand something. You don't have to memorize this list. Just think of it as warning lights. When something feels off in your relationship, come back to it. Start and focus on what stands out. And this is exactly why most premarital Christian counseling falls short, because it focuses just on the communication, the techniques, the skills, right? And that's cool. We need that, but it doesn't address the character behind it. If you're Christian, dating or engaged, and you're serious about doing marriage God's way, these are the conversations that most couples skip and later deeply regret. Link in bio, book a free 30-minute conversation, and let's get your marriage started the right way, which is God's way. Thanks for watching. God bless.